Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. As the Vice Chief of Defence Force, I have the overall command responsibility for the Australian Defence Force Academy. Over the past 2 years, I've made a personal commitment to meet and engage with officer cadets and midshipmen. Through these engagements, I've seen at first hand the vast majority of the men and women at ADFA are a credit to the Australian Defence Force. And that's why I'm extremely disappointed to be here today to inform you of an allegation or allegations of serious misconduct by a small group of these individuals. On Monday, ADFA staff became aware of an off-campus incident that occurred on the weekend, and they immediately referred the matter to the Australian Defence Force Investigative Service. An investigation is currently underway. It appears that the incident is linked to a group of male cadets and midshipmen that is operating contrary to the values and standards expected of the ADF members and our future leaders. The investigation is ongoing, but currently implicates in the order of 20 cadets and midshipmen from all 3 services and across all 3 years. As this investigation is ongoing, I cannot go into any further details about the nature of the allegations, except to say that if substantiated, the conduct is unacceptable and is not in keeping with the expectations of future leaders of the Australian Defence Force. Conduct of this nature has consequences and it will not be tolerated. Within the last 24 hours, Commandant ADFA has suspended 7 cadets and midshipmen, pending the outcome of the ADFA's investigations. And I expect more suspension decisions will be made in the coming days. These individuals will be dealt with fairly, but I and the rest of the Defence senior leadership will not apologise for the decisive actions we are taking in dealing with these matters. As we've all said many times, the standard you walk past is the standard that you set. Make no mistake, the strong united stance you are seeing from myself, the Chief of Defence Force and all the service chiefs should send a very clear message. Enough is enough. The Australian Defence Force will not accept actions or conduct that contradict our defence values. Every one of us must accept responsibility and be held to account for our actions. In 2011, the Sex Discrimination Commissioner, Elizabeth Broderick, reviewed the culture at ADFA. She concluded that while there had been positive changes in culture since the 1990s, there were still areas that required improvement. The ADFA leadership remains committed to implementing all of the Broderick recommendations and turning the defence-wide pathway to change strategy into action at the Academy. We have implemented or almost completed 24 of the 31 recommendations in Part 1 of the Broderick Review, and we're working hard on the remainder. We clearly articulate to people joining ADFA the standards of conduct that we expect from ADF members and their individual accountability for that conduct. These and the ADF values are continually reinforced throughout their training. We've also made improvements to supervision at ADFA outside normal working hours with the establishment of residential support officers. In fact, it's through these measures that the current issue has been brought to our attention. Encouraging aspects of this matter are that some of the cadets are demonstrating the moral courage to speak out, and the ADFA leadership took prompt and decisive action, and I applaud them for both. In this vein, I take the opportunity to encourage anyone, anywhere in the defence organisation, who is subject to or aware of instances of unacceptable behaviour to please speak up so that the matter can be addressed. And I expect that our leaders at all levels will respond proactively and appropriately. Right now, there'll be parents out there who are asking whether ADFA is the right place for their son or daughter. I can understand this, I'm a father. I can assure you, though, that ADFA leadership has undertaken an enormous effort to implement the recommendations of the Broderick Review, and I'm confident that ADFA has the right leadership, reporting mechanisms and, importantly, the support structures in place. In this particular case, ADFA is providing appropriate support to all affected personnel, and I'm personally remaining focused on the matter myself. ADFA is the ADF's preeminent training institution. The young men and women who have the privilege to attend ADFA have been selected as the military's future leaders, and as such, they are also the ADFA's or the ADF's future role models. I want to emphasise here that the vast majority of ADFA cadets and midshipmen understand what is expected of them and act accordingly, and as of this morning, most condemn what has happened here. Elizabeth Broderick is finalising an audit of ADFA's implementation of the 31 recommendations in phase 1 of her report. The audit report is expected to be released in the next month. And while I cannot comment on the details of this report, she has told me that good progress is being made, but, and I agree with her, we do need to do more. I've spoken to her regarding this matter on a number of occasions this week. During those conversations, I've asked her to look at this specific issue and provide advice to me on how to further reinforce the cultural improvements occurring at ADFA. The actions we are taking in this matter further reflect the strong commitment that I, along with CDF and the service chiefs, have to tackling the heart of the ADF's cultural issues. It's about instilling the right values and behaviours in our men and our women, so that they understand the standards Australia expects from its Defence Force and, importantly, its future leaders. It must start from the first day of our cadets and midshipmen when they arrive at ADFA, and it must hold each of us to account throughout our military careers. Before I take questions, can I say that I understand your interest in getting to the detail of the allegations, but this matter is subject to an investigation, and I'm not able to say anything more, except to say, if proven, such conduct is unacceptable and inappropriate and not in accordance with the actions we demand and expect from future leaders of the Australian Defence Force.
But it seems absolutely mind-boggling that after all of the publicity and all of the action inside Defence after the Skype incident, that people would be brazen enough in an organisation like ADFA to be involved in something which clearly from your presence here today is pretty serious.
Brendan, you must have a microphone in my office. They were about the exact words that I used when I found out about this. And I get back to the statement I said, enough is enough. There are some people that obviously, and it's not a large group, it's a small group, but there are some people that still don't understand.